Way back when there was a planet full of dragons, and they lived on a Pangea-like continent in peace and harmony. Just kidding, all gods are falling from the sky and causing some chaos. Chaos, said the space police as they fell down from the sky to create order, and order they created by punting an old god into the sun, made some stone robo races, and made 5 dragons intelligent. You know, as a reward for killing a giant dragon by using a giant boulder to suffocate it. I mean, whatever works, I guess. Although the aspects are having a fun time balling with their new powers, it turns out there are some dragons that don't exactly like their space friends. Why, you may ask? Well, because they're massive hippies that only use the natural stuff. So they wage war, and they nearly won too, until it turned out that Dorkwing was having a Scooby-Doo villain arc and was scheming with our tentacle hentai friends. To celebrate this amazing victory over the Primalists, Dorkwing put his children to sleep for 20,000 years. And the Dad of the Year award goes to the dragon with the tentacles. So apparently after this, nothing happened for about 4,000 years, and then trolls established civilization. When the trolls combined, they finally had the intelligence to invent fly-swatting technology in order to fight some big-ass bugs that they found. Although everything wasn't quite peachy on Azeroth for very long. The Curse of Flesh has just been born, so it's time to get your masks and your hand sanitizers. I'm just kidding, the Northerners started slaughtering their babies. And the Southerners started enslaving the ever-living shit out of everything. Anyways, after this all happens, some trolls get way too close to the centre of the continent and pay $20 for a race change. These elves start learning the ancient art of building stuff, and some of them spend so much time playing in the magic jacuzzi that they pay yet another $20 for a race change. Congrats, you've given another $40 towards Bobby's yacht. Hey, remember those enslaving Southerners we mentioned earlier? Well, 3,000 years later, Lei Shen, the big mad enslaver stone man, tries to invade Oldham. Why? Because he's evil, look at him. The Tol'vir, however, were pretty intelligent and had a plan. They used 8 cobblestone to create a forge, and this forge tactically nuked the zone and turned it into a desert. Defeating Lei Shen with the power of mutually assured destruction, baby. Although they had a stunning defeat, it wasn't enough to keep the Mogu from thriving in their own home. Wait, look, the Pandaren have just created the first Spinjitzu master. Okay, so the Mogu aren't thriving anymore. Mad that their childhood friends have been murdered, the Zandalari tried to conquer some of Pandaria. The Dragon Warrior says no. And they listen. Oh snap, look over there, the War of the Ancients has just begun. The Burning Legion is seducing Queen Ashara with flowers, chocolates and fellfire. Meanwhile, to stop this romantic comedy from airing live, Malfurion & Co. Photoshop a tweet of Sargeras saying he's a racist. The masses see this tweet and the box office cancels this film. To celebrate, Malfurion & Co. party in the magical jacuzzi, and so many unsavoury things happen in that jacuzzi that it was immediately destroyed out of shame. This causes the continent to break into itty-bitty little pieces, and the only way the dragons and ninjas can deal with the stress is by inventing the vape. Except they did it so much that their continents were shrouded in vape for thousands of years. In fact, you know, most of it went missing for a while. Yeah. Sad by the magical jacuzzi being destroyed, Illidanul creates a new one atop Mount Hyjal. However, his brother Malfurion doesn't exactly appreciate this. He doesn't want to be reminded of all the events that occurred in the first one.
Good luck, friend.
Did you happen to have a twin brother?
So instead, he did the rational thing. He imprisoned his brother and then banged his crush.
It is my honor.
Pretty based. And just when you thought he was done, Malfurion & Co. are back at it again after no time. War has broken out, and this time it's against the Satyr and their demon buddies.
It's fighting time!
To combat this, they use the power of the pack form. Using revolutionary, groundbreaking technology, the Night Elves created a new druid form that embodies a dead, angry dog. And this form, let me tell you, made the user a real knucklehead. They would just be so angry. Like, honestly, there's no need. So instead, some Night Elf named Melfandris killed herself.
Victory!
With all that out of the way, the Highborn started doing some real funky shit. Without any proper rehab in place for them to recover from the arcane addiction, they wanted to keep using. So the Night Elves put them on a ship so they could go off and create a way more dope society. One that praises the sun and legalizes arcane crystal meth. Back up north, a lovely location for a romantic getaway for you and your brother's crush has been renovated. That's right, the Northern Elves have unleashed a spell, turning Moonsong Forest into Crystal Song Forest. Oh well, I'm sure someone will deal with that eventually.
There is much to be done.
Breaking news, an archdruid has been spotted running around the planet planting trees. When asked for statement, he said he was inspired by his hero, Jimmy Donaldson. Oh, and now a tree is evil. So they renamed it to show how evil it is. Meanwhile, the Curse of Flesh is back, and this time it's affecting Hasbulla. Everyone's wondering the same question. What are these guys gonna do? Start enslaving? Start murdering babies? Oh no, they just sort of let it happen. Holy shit guys, the bastard reject children of the Vrykul have united to form the Kingdom of Arathor. Using their power of being the least imaginative thing since bread and butter, they help the High Elves defeat the Armani Trolls.
Greetings.
To thank the bitchless race, the Elves teach them how to do the magics.
Thanks.
Oh my, the Burning Legion have seen all the cool pics of the humans using magic on Instagram. The demons begin appearing on Azeroth again to clout chase, but the Council of Tirisfal was created to kick them back out of our solar system. The Council also figured out the spawn command for Guardians. Looks like it's time for more races to enter the fray as the Earthen finally awake to discover they too have been affected by the Curse of Flesh. This devilish disease won't let anybody sleep peacefully. But it didn't stop that workaholic mentality and they went straight to build Ironforge. Back down south, a terrorist troll group has been spotted in Stranglethorn Vale. The Gurubashi and Zandalari joined forces to banish them from the Vale. Hopefully there was no corrupted blood brought back to any capital cities or anything. Oh no, the Tauren have made a silly goofy move and have accidentally awakened the most horrific thing since Halls of Infusion. Although just like in real life, if it exists someone's dumb enough to fuck it. This creates the Centaur, which kill their dumb horny father and decide to go around murdering Tauren. Why you may ask? Well, maybe they just love steak or something. I don't know man, leave them alone. Who doesn't love steak, right? The Old Gods are getting tired of watching and decide to join in again. Cthulhu awakens from his slumber to attack Kalimdor, but the Night Elves and Dragons close his bedroom door and Cthulhu just can't get out. A Guardian has been spotted by police murdering an avatar of Sargeras in Dragonflight. The remains of the avatar have been detained in the tomb of Sargeras, and the Guardian has been sentenced to have an unpronounceable name. Seriously, you try and pronounce that. A panda has decided that he wants to travel and see the world, so he takes his enormous turtle, his gang of kung fu pandas, and some enemies so there's never a dull day and sets sail. Hey, remember that Guardian with the weird name we just talked about 10 seconds ago? Well, she just decided to be the Guardian forever, and built herself Karazhan, the evil Guardian lair, to hide from the Council of Tirisfal. A little later, the King of Little Men leads his followers across the globe in hopes to find a mystic island of technology. And while they're having fun with all their go-go gadget pincher hands, the Earthen Ring is formed because we need to keep the elemental spirits happy. Anyways, a year later Ragnaros enslaves the Dark Iron Dwarves, this being right after they got their asses kicked in the War of Three Hammers. Damn, they just can't catch a break. A new form of drug is sweeping across the nation of Khazan. Kazhamite ore is being smoked, snorted, and injected and is making little green men really smart. Using this new power of intelligence, they defeat their enslavers and enslave them back. Good thinking. Back on the news again are the Vrykul's bastard children. They've been spotted murdering gnolls nationwide without remorse. To celebrate, the Guardian did the big sexaroo with the guy and now Medivh is born. And oh, she, put some fun demon spices inside of a child. Fun? 14 years later, at Medivh's 14th birthday, the demon spices come out and totally ruin the vibe. How, you may be thinking? It murdered his father. Yeah. Then for a few years, the Gurubashi trolls started being real bitches and shit. Like real pie poopers. So Medivh comes and uses magical guardian powers to commit murder. Solves the problem pretty well. But then his mum wants him to go to the evil headquarters of Karazhan to isolate himself. But it's fine because he's got a caretaker, good old Morrows. Then some years later, Medivh gets into a Skype call with some aliens named Guldaniel and the Shadow Council. And Medivh invites them over for tea and crumpets. But they said no, we can't come. And Medivh says, okay then, I'll build a portal. Breaking news, big green Hulk-like creatures have been spotted pouring out of a portal in the southern marshlands of the Eastern Kingdoms. Reports say that they've been chanting Zug Zug and slaughtering anyone they can find. Most of these strange creatures are heading northwest into the territory of Stormwind on their terror rampage. However, a small subdivision known as the Bleeding Hollow are trying to push into Stranglethorn. But the Gurubashi learned their lesson after last time, so they didn't get very far.
The spirit's not amused.
Another small division known as the Frostwolves have been seen looking for a new home. This being after they got banished from the Horde for thinking Gul'dan and his ideas were, and I quote, God fucking awful. Yep, that's right, the Great Wars have begun. The First War primarily consists of the Horde slowly but surely pushing their way towards Stormwind. Meanwhile, major lore characters are being assassinated all over the place. Some of this is for not liking Gul'Daniel, for having Sargeras' spirit inside them, for having their own skin in Overwatch, and because Gul'dan mind controls people apparently. Some other dudes also run off to seek power for their own gain, which definitely won't bite them in the ass later on. But ultimately, it ends in Stormwind being burnt to the ground by the Horde. And Lothar takes the remaining Stormwindians? I don't know, that works. To Lordaeron, where the Alliance of Lordaeron is formed. With the end of the First War, it's time for celebration. Oh no wait, the Second War began basically immediately, so there's no time. To start the Second War, the Horde takes over Khazmodan, trapping the gnomes and dwarves in their snowy capital. Meanwhile, more evil plans ensue as Gul'dan creates the first emos.
The fate of this world is sealed.
And then the Dragonflight clan... Oh. Okay then, Who let Alex Afrasar be right law? Swiftly moving on, the Battle of Hillsbrad begins. And this was a true battle of twists and turns. It saw Kultiris' Navy go sicko mode on thousands of orcs, the first Death Knights battling the recently founded Knights of the Silver Hand, and I'm sure the crackheads did something. It was hard fought, but by the end of it the Alliance had won the battle, but at the cost of Zul'jin being freed and him pledging the Armani trolls to the Horde. The Horde presses on in order to defeat the Alliance, but what they didn't realise is that their resident almighty warlock ditched them for power. Yeah, he sort of went off to steal Sargeras' power, but Sargeras didn't quite like that, so he sent some demon henchmen to murder him.
Hello!
Without Gul'dan, the Horde fails to advance on Lordaeron and the Crack Addict Society, so they basically lose the war and Khadgar destroys the Dark Portal. Although, they got the last laugh in as Orgrim killed Lothar. Also, the Armani kinda got abandoned by the Horde, so Zul'jin isn't too happy. The orcs that survived had different fates. Most ran into the forest, some joined Nefarian and made a secret Deathwing fan club, and some became prisoners in Alliance camps. Shockingly, not long after the Dark Portal is reopened, and some other orcs from Draenor are running around looking for a stick, an eye, and a book. They find them and get chased back into Draenor, where the Sons of Lothar follow.
Knowledge is power.
I talk more about this, but this isn't the entire history of Draenor, I guess, so... I don't know, I mean, if this does well, then maybe that'll exist one day. I think you know where I'm going with this. Anyway, back to it, Ner'zhul has been bestowed the King of Emos, aka the Lich King. And while plotting his evil plans up north, he was looking for a replacement. See, he was always kind of more an 80s music kind of vibe, so he felt like he didn't really fit in. But until the day he could find a successor, he had to do some work with his good old pal, Kel'Thuzad. Here's some cool facts about him. Kel'Thuzad was a mage, until he wasn't. Well, that's enough about him. What about the work? Well, they sent some plague grain through the northern eastern kingdoms to spread a zombie plague. While this is all going on, a young orc named Thrall, son of Durotan, learns to become a shaman. And using his newfound elemental powers, he teams up with Gron Hellscream and Orgrim Doomhammer to free all the orcs from the internment camps. They had one goal for their people.
Never be slaves!
And it was a happy ending. Nah, just kidding. Orgrim dies and Thrall steals his hammer. Based. And that wasn't all that was going on. This was a rough couple of years for the Alliance as members leave, and one of them even made a huge wall to keep everyone out. Looks like it's wartime again as the Third War begins. It kicks off with a zombie plague being discovered in Stratholme. But don't fear, ladies and gentlemen, because Menethil Man was here to save the day. And he did this by committing mass genocide. Then he discovered he loved murder so much that he went shopping for a fun Mournblade. And he used it to kill a Dreadlord and his father. Sounds like a rough week for Menethil Man, huh? Maybe he'll take a second to reflect on his actions. Oh wait, he's attacked the crackheads and Dalaran with thousands of undead. Interestingly, however, Kel'Thuzad rocks up to Dalaran to summon Archimonde and friends. I'm sure that will end well. While all this is going on, Gen Greymane gets a wizard to unleash those druids with the pack form on the undead at their Trump wall. Shockingly, those maniacs couldn't be controlled given their mindless rage and all, and started infecting Gilneas with their curse. After this, Grom Hellscream and a big old pit lord named Manaroth have a suicide pact, and shortly after the ghosts of the Alvan past horn Archimonde to death. And just like that, the war was over, and this time, we do get to celebrate. The Horde did it by creating the finest mud hut city that the world had ever seen and adding some slender and beefy members to their ranks. The Alliance did it by attacking said city and miserably failing.
Back off, well.
The Pandas did it by starting a yearly tradition of getting shit-faced. The Night Elves did it by planting yet another big ass tree in the ocean, and the crackheads celebrated by quitting their addiction, but some of them had the gnarliest withdrawals and sent them mad. Thanks Blizz for teaching us to never stop feeding our addictions. Meanwhile, Nizul was getting really down, stuck in this dead-end job that he wanted to quit. And that's when he realised that Menethil Man could replace him. So Menethil Man made his way up to come claim this new industry position in a thriving market. But it wasn't without peril. See, Nizul's lack of care for his job led the Forsaken to become free-willed, and so they decided to take Lordaeron for themselves and live in the sewers for some unknown reason. Maybe death takes away his sense of smell? Either way, they join the Horde and solidify it as the cool faction. Meanwhile, Illidanul tries to kill Menethil Man before he can claim his new job role. A pretty easy 1v1 for Illidan, you'd think anyway. Alright then. Anyways, Menethil Man claims his new desk, and begins his bright career path by sitting there. I imagine he's very cold. Checking back on the Alliance, they've decided it's time to enlist their own aid. They bring some shorter, and rather tall members. And things were nearly all peachy for them again. But their leader went missing, so I don't really know what to tell you. Breaking news, a new threat is terrorizing Azeroth. Reports of strange new creatures are running around the planet, stripping the land of precious resources, erotically role-playing in inns around the globe, and poaching many creatures all over the world for their asses. Oh god, they're here. Yep, that's right, Vanilla WoW has begun. The player character is now roaming the world of Azeroth, and there is literally no part of the planet that's safe anymore. The world became completely full of them, as they changed the world for better or for worse. They killed the Fire Lord, they killed the Children of Deathwing, they killed the Lower of Blood, they even kill an old god of all things, and finally they killed Kel'Thuzad, for the first time. But they also, murdered everything else that they could, so it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Either way, that pretty much sums up all of Vanilla WoW, so it's time for the Burning Crusade. The crack addicts have innovated and have used fel crystal meth since our last visit. This turns them into the blood crack addicts, and they join the Horde. Meanwhile, tentacle goat men from outer space crash land on Azeroth, and they did this to get away from the orcs.
Yes.
Irony's a bitch, huh? Anyways, they join the Alliance. All the players leave the planet through the Dark Portal for a bit, leaving the planet in peace and harmony for some time. But then they come back, and it's way worse than before. Upon arrival, they murder Zul'jin, and then shortly after, they murder Kil'jaeden. And in celebration, they restore the crack well. So the elves can do golden crack now. And yeah, that's basically all that really happened on Azeroth for that expansion. With all that said and done, it's time for Wrath of the Lich King. Menethil Man in the years that had passed had become a rather effective businessman. He sold goods and services all over Northrend. He became a household name and amassed a huge amount of support for his business. But that wasn't enough for him. See, Menethil Man was a workaholic with one goal: world domination. For his business. So he decided to go international, and he sent some products to the two biggest cities in the world. And as a man who has never tasted an ounce of failure in his life, it didn't go too well when he failed. The food he sent was the same as always, yummy with a 100% chance of turning you into his follower. But the Alliance and Horde didn't like that, so the factions went to Northrend to shut that shit down. And on the way they kill yet another old god, the Blue Dragon Aspect, and Kel'Thuzad again to show they ain't playing around. Menethil Man was astonished. Why would they do such a thing to an honest and only somewhat murderous gentleman? He tried to settle things in the courtyard of Icecrown Enterprises, but he just ends up getting attacked. He realised that the Alliance and Horde are barbarians and brutes that don't even deserve his product. So he tells them to leave Northrend, and leave the people of Northrend alone. But somehow, this doesn't work, and he gets farmed every reset for his pet pony. And so ends the tale of Menethil Man. Oh yeah, and this guy steals his job like a baseless asshole. Putting that behind us, it's time for Cataclysm. Remember that dragon Dorkwing from the start of this video? No? You brain-rotted TikTokers. Either way, he's a big-ass dragon with armor and a serious god complex. He begins by flying around the world and causing natural disasters everywhere, hence the name Cataclysm. And while he's busy doing that, the people of Gilneas are being attacked by the Forsaken, while they simultaneously deal with the fact that they're now all furries. They get overrun by the Forsaken, and the Night Elves take them to their special little tree. This is now where they live, and they join the Alliance. Meanwhile, the goblins at Kazan deal with the most random bullshit that this game has ever seen. I covered this in my Starting Zones video, and let me tell you, there is no way in hell I'm making this video any longer by repeating it again. All you need to know is that Dorkwing doesn't like sports, and the goblins join the Horde. After this, some annoying characters that were killed in vanilla have to be killed again. Also, the Amani, Zandalari and Gurabashi get back up to their old shit and have to be stopped again. And there was also 2 new threats in the form of Alakir the Windlord and Chogol the Mad Ogre. But despite this, Dorkwing was still running around pretty rampant until our good old buddy Thrall reappeared. Since we last heard from Thrall, he, just like Menethil Man, became rather famous. And under his new alias, Green Jesus, he used a magical... Wait, what is that? Is that one of those giant chocolate coin things you buy for your nephew at Christmas? Whatever it is, it puts a big hole through the guy and allows the players to kill him for a title. Seems pretty thing. Now we enter Mists of Pandaria. The Alliance and Horde are back at it again, really just roughhousing at any given moment they get. While doing so, they discover a mystical land full of kung fu pandas, except these ones aren't played by Jack Black, and they join both sides. It is discovered that these pandas learned peace. They can't have any negative emotions because it ruins the vibe and causes Shah to spawn in. But we know our good old Alliance and Horde, those knuckleheads were never going to stop. So yeah, Shah terrorized the land. While getting annoyed by Shah while fighting the Shah, causing more Shah to spawn in, and then everybody's annoyed because there's more Shah.
I'm starting to hate you.
The Mogu decide they want in on the combat and start being bitches. Which then of course causes more Shah to spawn in, naturally. While the Mogu and the Shah are slowly getting slaughtered, of course causing more Shah to spawn in, Garrosh Hellscream, the current leader of the Horde, decides to be a massive asshole and decides the Horde should only be orcs again. So the Horde and Alliance band together to kill him, but then they don't. They put him on trial, and then he gets punted to alternate Draenor, where they begin the tale of Warlords of Draenor. Oh, and also Vol'jin's now War Chief. The new Iron Horde is coming through the Dark Portal, so everybody leaves to fight them for a bit. Which leaves us with absolutely nothing of note happening on Azeroth. Legion has begun. Sargeras has decided to give Invasion a second chance, and in spirit of second chances, he gives one to Gul'Daniel, the alternate version. This Gul'dan didn't try to steal Sargeras' power, and the two become close friends. Their friendship didn't come without peril, however, as the Alliance and Horde attack Gul'dan on the Broken Shore, except they miserably fail and cause the leaders of the factions to die. Varian's pussy son Anduin is made king, and Vol'jin listens to the voices in his head and makes Sylvanas war chief. With this new leadership, they go on to kill Xavius, Helya, Gul'dan again, and Kil'jaeden again. And Kil'jaeden wasn't technically on Azeroth, so you got that one for free. Of course they couldn't have done it without Sir Edgelord Illidan and his Edgelord army. United, they then take the battle to Argus. And while on Argus, the people of Azeroth got to get up close and personal with Sargeras' junk. Then he stabs the world and everyone comes back home to go fight each other again. Battle for Azeroth begins as Sylvanas increases her CO2 emissions and also commits a Wrathgate on her own city. To help both factions fight, Kultiras joins the Alliance and the Zandalari join the Horde. While all this is going down, Varrock Sarfang and his sidekicks go around the world, telling people that the Horde isn't cool anymore because of Sylvanas. Everyone agrees. While rallying the world against her, there were some old god-sized threats to kill. But honestly, that wasn't anywhere near the most interesting thing going on. Like, sure, we got Mechagon, Nazjatar, and Ny'alotha. But like, come on, everybody wants to see what the new hot Anduin's gonna do next. And here's the answer. Stand there while Sylvanas murders Sarfang and flies away like a fucking anime villain. This causes the Horde to be led by a council, and going from the most badass faction in the entire game to having Volpyra running around the city of Orgrimmar. Silvermoon is my capital city now. They don't come here. It's too clean. Now it's time for Shadowlands. Sylvanas ascends Icecrown Enterprises to shut down Operation once and for all. Bolvar, the asshole that stole Menethil Man's job, 1v1s her, and miserably fails. Sylvanas breaks Menethil Man's Helm of Productivity, which crashes the stock market and creates a rift to the Shadowlands in the sky. The Alliance and Horde chase Sylvanas into the Shadowlands for her tyranny, leaving Azeroth for years to come. And you know what that means. Dragonflight has now begun. The children of Dorkwing kick it off by finally waking up. They join the factions and have an edgy side thing of trying to figure out who they are. Meanwhile, the Alliance and Horde travel to the Dragon Isles to help with a primal problem. And on their draconic journey, they struggle to actually end the threat. The Storm Primal Incarnate is the first to die, but not without releasing her 3 siblings. The Fire Incarnate was, let's be real, the closest thing to the Joker in WoW and died trying to cause global warming. The Earth Incarnate simply got away, and the Ice Incarnate just chose to help us after not much convincing. So I'm not sure if I'll call that a win, but sure. We also learned about one of Dorkwing's children that wanted to become as powerful as his father. but he was pathetically stupid like a Scooby-Doo villain. There was some other stuff going on with the infinite Dragonflight, the old gods and the titans, but they were basically just plot building for the future World Soul saga, so I guess stay tuned for that and whatever the hell lies ahead with it. Personally, I'm going to put my bets on Arthas 2.0. Well, not really, I just really want it to happen. Thank you guys for watching. If you fancy it, you can subscribe for more content like this. My socials are in the description if you want to see tweets like the Cum Drink, or come bully me in my own Discord. And if you want to watch another video, there's one right here for you. So yeah, that took me a long time, and I'm so sick of hearing my own voice. Alright, bye. See? It looks nothing like cum.